know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.
Following on from one of the greatest seasons in the club's history, Alex Stock's men had another incredible season as we pushed to win promotion to the First Division for the first time in our history. This five-part series will look at what happened during this great season for the club. After 16 years in the Third Division, QPR went into the 1967-68 season on a massive high in the Second Division. Rangers had of course not only won the Third Division, scoring over 100 goals, but also won the League Cup. The club had never reached the top flight before, but hopes were high among the QPR fans that this exciting young team could make it back-to-back promotions. That optimism grew even more as we took on an Italian Olympic 11 in pre-season, which was pretty much the Italy under-21 side. Rangers thrashed them 5-1 as we went into the new season full of confidence. There had been a few changes over the summer though. The Springett brothers swapped clubs, with Peter leaving QPR to join Sheffield Wednesday, and his brother Ron returned to QPR. Ron had played 88 times for QPR in the 50s, and after his move to Sheffield Wednesday, he won 33 England caps and was in the squad for the 1966 World Cup. He also played in the FA Cup final in 1966, so his return to QPR was an exciting one. Jim Langley had retired at the end of the previous season, so QPR brought in 24-year-old Alan Harris from Chelsea. Another who came with real pedigree, having played in the FA Cup final in 1967. He was the brother of the infamous Ron Chopper Harris and was a very dependable fullback. He was signed for a fee of £30,000 from Chelsea, which showed that QPR were a club with ambitions to be in the top flight. Dave Clement had made just the one appearance the previous season, but this would be his breakthrough year as he became a regular in the side at right back. One big blow to the team though was an injury to star man Rodney Marsh, who had broken his foot and missed the first 3 months of the season. Now the opening day of the season saw QPR make the trip to Portsmouth, lining up in an attacking 4-2-4 formation. There were debuts for Ron Springett and Alan Harris, whilst Tony Hazel moved to centre-half to cover the injured Frank Sibley. Bobby Keach started the season alongside Hazel after an injury to Ron Hunt. Ian Morgan replaced Keith Sanderson in midfield, whilst Mick Leach started up front in place of Rodney alongside Mark Lazarus, Les Allen and Roger Morgan. Portsmouth was never an easy place to visit, and Rangers came away with a creditable 1-1 draw, Roger Morgan getting the goal for QPR. Up next was another away trip, this time to Bristol City, and it was the first win of the season. Mick Leach produced an impressive performance for QPR. He scored twice in a 2-0 win to push Rangers up to second at this very early stage of the season. Our first home game was against Norwich City, and the Match of the Day cameras were there to see if QPR could build on their impressive start to the season.
Match of the Day today welcomes Second Division football back to Loftus Road for the first time in 15 seasons. Queen's Park Rangers, the surprise team of last season, the League Cup winners and also Third Division champions, playing their first home game of the season. They made a great start with 3 points from 2 away games, with 3 players still off injured. A big crowd in the bright sunshine today. And Queen's Park Rangers, as I say, missing 3 of their star players, but nevertheless, they've got off to a great start. There's the team. And number 3, Harris, Alan Harris, you'll recognise him as the man who played for Chelsea in the FA Cup final last season, close-season signing. There's number 7, Mark Lazarus, perhaps the most popular player with the Queen's Park Rangers fans. Les Allen, former Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur player. Goodbye with Queen's Park Rangers. Leach. Allen. Allen. Leach. Oh, another great save, but the referee has given a penalty. A penalty. Allen was tripped, so it's a penalty kick. The skipper is going to take the kick, Mike Keane. Now, what are the odds on Keelan saving it? one at all. A great penalty kick. Now Lazarus. Ian Morgan, Brother Roger on his left. It's a goal! The first mistake made by Keelan.
It looked like there was no stopping this exciting QPR team, led brilliantly by manager Alex Stock. He'd put this team together with a great blend of youth and experience. We were a match for anyone. It was Rotherham up next, who were not one of the strongest sides that season, and they were absolutely no match for QPR, who were without the injured Dave Clement, and they still stormed into a 2-goal lead before half-time. Les Allen and Mark Lazarus both scoring, whilst Mick Leach made it 3 goals in 5 games to earn a 3-1 win. We faced our first real test of the season when Aston Villa visited Loftus Road, who had just been relegated from the top flight. There was a real buzz around Loftus Road, facing a big club like Villa, the kind of league fixture which seemed almost impossible a year earlier. Rangers had problems going into the game, with Les Allen picking up a knock, and with Rodney Marsh and Alan Wilkes also injured. There was a return to the side for the ever-reliable Keith Sanderson. And that decision to go with a hard-working midfield player at number 9 raised more than a few eyebrows, but Stock knew exactly what he was doing, and QPR set about Villa with pace and intensity. Sanderson scored twice in the first half before Mark Lazarus added a third, as QPR thrashed their big-name opponents. Top of the league and looking unstoppable, the fans were beginning to believe anything was possible. Of course, this is QPR, so things were never going to go that smoothly. We followed that great win over Villa with a home game against Derby County, who were managed by young Brian Clough. They proved to be tough opposition, with the aggressive winger Gordon Hughes causing Rangers fullback Alan Harris problems. He gave him several niggly fouls against the QPR man early on. Harris responded with an off-the-ball headbutt, not spotted by the referee, but certainly spotted by the supporters, which sealed his reputation as a no-nonsense player. The game was a very heated one, with crowd trouble during and after the game. Derby won it 1-0 and brought QPR back down to earth with a bang, as Alex Stock's men realised they were not going to have it all their own way. Rangers' defence of the League Cup began with a home game against Hull, who had reached the FA Cup quarter-finals a year before. So it was a tricky time for QPR, and Hull took the lead. But it was yet another second-half turnaround. Mick Leach and Mike Keane scoring the goals to send us into the next round. A trip to Preston saw QPR get back to winning ways in the league. Goals from Mick Leach and Roger Morgan earned us a 2-0 win before a home London derby against Charlton at Loftus Road. Ian Morgan and Les Allen got the goals that day in a 2-1 win, which kept us top of the table. September ended with a trip to Crystal Palace in front of a crowd of over 38,000, the highest attendance for a QPR League game in over 16 years. Palace were a point behind Rangers, so it was a big game, and they doubled up on winger Mark Lazarus to try and nullify our attacking threat. It certainly worked, as Palace won a tight game 1-0 and went above Rangers. Still, as September drew to a close, it had been a brilliant start to the season. 10 games played, 7 wins, 1 draw and just the 2 defeats, sitting third in the table, just outside the automatic promotion spots. Mick Leach was top goal scorer with 5 goals, whilst Les Allen and the Morgan twins all had 3 goals to their name. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Coming up next time, striker Alan Wilkes makes history, Rodney Marsh returns, and a QPR legend leaves the club.
The world has ever seen, and it's